Hey there, my name is Jade and welcome to my space. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing a flip through of my completed movie journal. I started this journal in December 2019 and it has all the movies that I watched in 2019 as well as all the movies that I watched in 2020. And yeah, this was basically my saving grace of 2020. This journal was a lot of fun to work in and it's definitely like one of my favorite journals that I've ever done. And yeah, I do want to say though that it's not a bullet journal. Don't get me wrong, there are a couple spreads that are related to tracking, but it's not a bullet journal. I don't treat it as a bullet journal. I just write about movies that I watch, and yeah, I hope that you guys enjoy this flip through. So the notebook itself is the Midori A5 notebook. You can get these off of Amazon for like $10 to $15. It also has like a plastic cover on top that you unfortunately have to buy separately. And then all the stickers on the front and back are all from Redbubble. And I will make sure to leave links to all of them in the description. But this one's Sailor Moon, Black Panther, Sword Art Online, Avatar: Last Airbender, Mr. Robot. That's just a regular movie camera. This movie journal sticker is from my label maker. And then we have Stranger Things, Euphoria, Guardians of the Galaxy. These two are Leon the Professional. And then this one is Spirited Away. And then this one is also Stranger Things. So yeah, let's just get into the journal. On the inside we have this sticker. Comes with like every Midori notebook, but it's basically like a labeling sticker. I chose to put it on the inside instead of the outside. I technically have to like finish filling this out, but started in December, ended it in January. This sticker is Howl from Howl's Moving Castle. I would link this, but the person that I bought this from on Etsy doesn't sell it anymore, so I can't link it. First we have this spread. This part is like glued down awkwardly because I ripped out a couple of the first pages because I messed up so badly. I have these movie tickets here. These two are Parasite. This one is Frozen 2. These two are Joker. These aren't the only movies that I watched though. Like in theaters, I did see like a couple more in theaters. I just don't know where I put the movie tickets, so I couldn't like fill this whole thing up with movie tickets. But these pictures right here are pictures from like other spreads that I completed that I printed like too many pictures for. Yeah, that's that. Then we have my 2019 movies watched. In 2019, I'm pretty certain I kept a bullet journal, and in that bullet journal I had a spread exactly like this where I tracked all the movies that I watched and like the ratings that I gave them. So I was able to like copy and paste that here basically. Next we have my 2020 movies watched. I have it slightly more organized. It's in columns from date, title, and rating. This though is only January to October. I do have another spread exactly like this, but it's like halfway through the notebook. Then we have my 2019 and 2020 TV shows watched. I don't watch as much TV as I do movies, just because I feel like they're more taxing to watch. But yeah, these are all the TV shows that I watched in 2019 and 2020. Next we have my Marvel rewatch page and my Studio Ghibli rewatch page. I wanted to binge both of these franchises in the year 2020, but I never got around to it. I tried for Studio Ghibli in November, but November was like a crappy month, so I didn't get to do this. But you'll see that later in the journal. And then this is just my Marvel rewatch page. I have all the movies in the order that you're supposed to watch them in, or like in chronological order, I guess. But yeah, that's just this spread. I did watch like 2 Studio Ghibli movies. I watched Spirited Away for my birthday like I do every year. Then I also watched Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind in November, but like I wanted to watch all of them, but it is what it is. Next we have my Disney Plus page and then my most anticipated. My Disney Plus page was supposed to be like a place where I could track things that I rewatched that were Disney related and or like things that were new to me that were Disney related. But even though I do have Disney Plus, I didn't really use it that much as I thought I would. Then we have my most anticipated for 2020. All of these shows except for Euphoria came out. Well, I mean, technically the special episode for Rue came out, but that's not season 2, so that doesn't technically count. And then I would say all of these got pushed back except for Tenet, Soul, and Mulan. But also, this isn't the way this spread originally looked. At first, I was just writing everything down like normally, but then I figured out that I wasn't anticipating much, so I just printed out all of the posters for everything that I wanted to see and then put it here. Next we have my anime spread. This is like everything that I wanted to watch that was anime related. This was supposed to look the same as my most anticipated, but I don't know, it just looks ugly to me. Because I did like write it out like a list format at first, but then like I said, I did these little posters and everything, and it just looks too hectic and cluttered for my taste, especially like with these Sailor Moon stickers, so it is what it is. And then I have my classics page where I was going to watch like a few classic movies and then like give my little thoughts in these little spaces, but I ended up not watching any, so that was just another wasted spread, but it's okay. Next we have my 2019 spreads. So these next few spreads, I'm just gonna show you, they all look the same, but all of my opinions and everything are for different movies. So the way that I kind of like track my movies is on the side I'll put how I watched it, so if I rented it, if I watched it on Netflix, if I saw it in theaters, stuff like that, and then if I would watch it again. And then we have my star rating, which I do in like a gold pen, and then underneath I have like these little blurbs, and these little blurbs can range from like dumb thoughts to like super pretentious thoughts. So yeah, that's like my favorite thing about this journal, is that like I can share my opinion without being judged, which is why I like never leave reviews on Letterboxd. So, but these are all the movies that I watched in 2019. I didn't do all this at once though. I would say putting all these posters down as well as like giving my thoughts on each individual movie took all of January at least of 2020, so. But it's okay, I had fun doing it. So from like this movie onward, almost all of those movies are from my film class, like this one, these three, all three of those I watched in my film class. This one I watched in my film class. This is like the only movie in this journal that doesn't have like a proper rating, just because I don't know how I feel about it, and I would have to rewatch it to form an actual opinion on it. But I did watch this in my film class. These two I did not watch in my film class, but they're still really good. These two I watched in my film class. This one I watched in my film class. I wish I didn't watch Brokeback Mountain in my film class, only because if you've never seen Brokeback Mountain, this movie is really freaking sad. And I would have loved to just like been in my room like sobbing after I watched this movie, but no, I had to hold it together and shove my emotions down and hold back the tears because I was not about to cry in front of like 30 other people. So oh, and then like some of these are also like out of place, like Sweeney Todd I watched in like May of 2019, and I remember this because I watched it on a plane coming back from London, and let's just say watching Sweeney Todd next to like two random strangers is really weird to say the least. And then we have like Beautiful Boy and Skate Kitchen. I'm pretty sure I watched those like way early in 2019. And then of course Captain Marvel I watched like opening weekend, so yeah, those are like out of place, but it's fine. Then we have my favorite movies of 2019, so Joker, Bad Times at the El Royale, mid-90s, Frozen 2, Avengers Endgame, Brooklyn, and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. All phenomenal movies, if I do say so myself. Next we have like my January 2020 movies. So from here onwards, I break everything up into like months, and so like for this I couldn't do that because I didn't keep track of like when I was watching everything like on the nose. But with this I kind of could, because like the way I have like this spread set up, like I was able to keep track of like what I was watching chronologically because of the way this spread was set up, as well as also like using Letterboxd, because like after I would watch a movie on Letterboxd, or after I would watch a movie, I would log it on Letterboxd, and that way I could like keep track of like what I was watching and when I was watching it. And I don't know, I just like the thought of having everything in like monthly spreads, you know? So this is January. I have my favorite movie of the month, my thoughts. These little blurbs are in like the same vein as like this, where I would put like where I watched it, what I watched it again, and like my thoughts. It's just like 10 times more condensed because there's not as much space, you know? But then for my favorite movie of the month, I would expand a little bit more for this. But then on top of like highlighting my favorite movie of the month, I would also make like a full spread for said movie. This is my Little Women spread. This spread actually determined whether or not I would continue with this journal because I didn't know what I was doing. And I was like, you know, this is fine, but like, I don't know if I actually enjoy this journal. But then I made this spread while rewatching Little Women, and it was just a fun time. And yeah, absolutely love this spread. Love this movie. I love these two, even though you're technically not supposed to ship them because I guess Joe's technically a lesbian, but still, they're cute. The only reason why I feel that way is because I feel like I ship Saoirse and Timothy more than I ship Joe and Laurie, but even still, like their chemistry in Little Women was just like chef's kiss, you know? Anyways. Next we have Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, one of my favorite movies of 2019. Then we have my February movies. February was like a weird month. I watched all these movies and then like these as well. These two are from March. But on top of like watching all these movies, I also ended up watching 17 movies in a week. A lot of those movies that were part of that 17 were rewatches, and I don't remember what movies I rewatched except for Lady Bird, which makes me really sad because like I wish I knew what movies I had rewatched during that like weird time period for me. And the only reason why I watched like 17 movies in a week is because I was sad. And then March happened. So we only have the two movies, Stargirl and An American in Paris. And then my favorite movie for February was Grand Budapest Hotel. Then we have my spread for the Grand Budapest Hotel. I made a video about me making the spread. Yeah, love it. Then we have Avatar: The Last Airbender. I also made a video of me making the spread. Pretty sure I rewatched Avatar: The Last Airbender in March, cause like I feel like that's when we all rewatched Avatar: The Last Airbender. It was like it just came on Netflix in March, and then I feel like the pandemic, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and Animal Crossing were like a really big thing in March. So I'm pretty sure this is what I spent March watching. Then we have my April movies. I watched the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy for the first time. Yes, I did give all 3 movies 4 stars. I don't know, they were just a fun time. My favorite movie was Phantom of the Opera. This isn't the Phantom of the Opera movie with Gerard Butler. This is the recording of the stage play. And I just made a spread for that. I wish I filmed the spread, but at the same time, I made the spread because I was sad. So, yeah, Phantom of the Opera. Next we have my Euphoria spread, which I literally just posted my video of. I love how the spread turned out, all the sequins and the purple and everything. It just looks really nice. Then we have my May movies. Favorite movie of the month was torn between Social Network and Uncut Gems. And the only reason why Social Network won is because this technically was the second time I had ever watched The Social Network, but it was like I watched it for the very first time. Like I remembered every scene vividly, but I didn't remember any of the dialogue or what the story was about. So when I watched it in May, I finally like understood the story and everything. Like the story like kind of blew my mind, but then just like the weird feeling of like, yes, I've seen this before, but no, I haven't, was just like a weird headfuck for me. So that's why this ended up being favorite movie of the month. Even though Uncut Gems was like a very close second. Like that movie was so freaking good. Oh my god. Then we have the Social Network. The spread is like really weird looking, but I like it. So yeah, that's that. And then we have my Anne with an E spread. I made a video of me making this spread, and that shall be posted soon. I have like a lot of spreads in this journal that I made videos for that I'm going to post soon. They would have been posted sooner, but like school and life was like in the way, so sorry about that. But here's my Anne with an E spread. Absolutely adore it. I bought these stamps specifically for this spread because I made an Anne with an E spread in my regular like life journal way back in like January when season 3 came out, but then I decided I wanted to make like a whole spread in here for Anne with an E, just talking about how much I love this show. And yeah. Oh, but like back to the stamps. I bought these stamps for that other spread that I made way back in January, and then I just reused them for here, and I haven't used those stamps since, but they are gorgeous stamps. Next we have my June movies. June was a weird month because if y'all couldn't tell, I'm fucking black, and yeah, you know, June was a weird month for me. I had a good mental breakdown, and we're just gonna leave it at that, okay? So, but I ended up watching Do the Right Thing and I Am Not Your Negro because of the protesting, just because I feel like I needed to be more grounded to my roots. And then I watched 365 Days. I did not watch this movie for the plot. None of us watched this movie for the plot, but this movie was so fucking bad that I had to just give it 1 star because oof. And see, y'all can talk shit about 50 Shades of Grey, but at least 50 Shades of Grey didn't have like as bad continuity errors as 365 Days. This movie was fucking awful. Charlie's Angels, the Eurovision movie. Favorite movie of the month was Do the Right Thing. I made this spread for Do the Right Thing. I made it in December, and I will say from this point onward, my growth in my style is not linear, because I had planned out like a bunch of spreads for many different purposes, videos I wanted to film, TikToks I wanted to make, but I wanted to make sure that like all my monthly spreads had a spread highlighting the movie of the month right afterwards. But when I made like this spread, I didn't want to talk about Do the Right Thing immediately. So I just set it aside until December when I was more emotionally ready to, you know, talk about it. If you've never seen Do the Right Thing, then you might not like understand like where I'm coming from or what I'm talking about, but it's in relation to like being black and like protesting and all that. So yeah. Then we have my 2020 movies watched part 2. This is October to December, and I kept this blank just because I was going to put like my favorite movies right here, but I ended up making like a whole spread at the very end of this journal, so you'll see that later. Then we have my July movies. This is everything that I watched in the month of July, and yeah, only watched these 3 movies. My favorite movie of the month was Straight Up. Made a spread for this movie. This movie is like really freaking good if you haven't seen it before, so I would recommend it. I would recommend like all my favorite movies of the month. Like I'm not gonna make like a full spread for a movie that I hated, you know? Like I know other people do, but I don't have the patience. Like why talk about shit that I hate when I could talk about shit that I like, you know what I mean? Next we have Hamilton, because Hamilton came out in July on Disney+. I liked Hamilton, like I liked watching the play. It was really good, but what made me actually fall in love with Hamilton was the soundtrack. Like once you listen to it independently outside of the play, it's like, I don't know, I just found that I understood the story more the more I listened to the soundtrack, so yeah. I will say though, I do hate that I put this brown strip here, and the only reason why this brown strip of paper is here is because like if you've watched Hamilton, the stage is like very wooden, and so I was like, oh yeah, brown makes sense. But then like I printed out all these pictures and the lighting in all these pictures is like very blue, so that's why I ended up going with like the blue. But then I had already like put down the brown paper after I made that realization, so yep, this awkward mess. And yes, I did individually glue all these little sequins down. Took forever, but still looks kind of fire. Next we have my August movies. Oh, I forgot to mention that I started doing my monthly spreads sideways like this because it gave me more room to put my thoughts. And I don't know, it was just like something different to try because this was fun, but I got tired of doing this, so then I decided to like switch it up to this. I would say out of all of my monthly spreads though, my August one is my favorite. It just looks the nicest in my opinion, so these are all the movies I watched in August, as well as like these 3. And then here's my favorite movie of the month, which was Jojo Rabbit. And then next we have mid-90s, and this like onward is where things get even more messy because in September I don't make my monthly spreads in the month that we're in. I make them in the month afterwards, like at the beginning of the month, you know. So I made this spread at like the beginning of September, and in September is when I started my TikTok. So I made the spread for TikTok. Love how it turned out, but because I was like, oh, I want to be more active on TikTok, I started planning out like different spreads that I wanted to make, so it just gets a bit more disorganized from here on out is what I'm saying. Then we have Skate Kitchen. Love this movie. Also really love the show that they made a spin-off of this called Betty. It's on HBO. It's really freaking good. You guys should definitely check out both Skate Kitchen and Betty. Just saying. Then we have Jojo Rabbit. And then like this is what I'm saying where like my growth stops being linear, because like I finished this spread I would say a week or two ago, and because of like my American Beauty spread, I started like incorporating like these bigger quotes just to take up a bit more space. And yeah, but I didn't like start doing this in like September, so that's that. And then we move on to spooky season, which is strictly for the month of October. October is obviously Halloween, but my birthday is also in October, so I would say like a majority of these movies are for spooky season, and then like Spirited Away was for my birthday because like I said, I watch Spirited Away for my birthday every year. And then Enola Holmes I watched because I would say Enola Holmes came out at like the end of September and everyone was talking about it, so I was like, okay, I'll watch it, and I just put it on this list just because. But like these two technically aren't related to spooky season, but yeah. So this is my spooky season spread. I put like all the kiddie movies up front. Then we have like Ready or Not. Then we get into like the more spooky stuff, which is like Orphan, Jaws, The Boy. I put Blade here because, you know, vampires, but Blade 2 and Blade Trinity ended up being actual garbage, so love that for me. I would say Blade though is definitely 10 out of 10. This movie is so freaking good. So if you've never seen it, you should definitely check it out. Didn't watch Suspiria, Hereditary, or Midsummer. I was too chicken to watch either of these, and then this one it's not that like I didn't want to watch it, I just didn't have the time, you know? Because I didn't watch like a movie a day like I wanted to. So Underworld, didn't like. Well, I gave it 3 stars. I just kind of thought it was boring. Jeepers Creepers, that was fun. I watched Scream for the first time. That was really fun. Spirited Away, like I said, for my birthday. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, because, you know, that's like a classic, and I watch that like literally every Halloween. That and the Christmas Charlie Brown special, which I forget the name of. We have Vampires vs. the Bronx, which was super cheesy but still really fun. And Enola Holmes, like I said, for just because it had came out at like the end of September. Jennifer's Body, which I watched for like the first time in years, which was so much fun. I like I knew like this movie was like good, but like I didn't realize how good it was until I rewatched it like in its entirety, which was a lot of fun. Then we have War of the Worlds, which is like one of my all-time favorite movies, but I hadn't seen it in like a long time, and then rewatching it like as an adult was like so much fun because like I got like scared all over again because it's like an alien invasion, and then like I don't know, it was just a lot of fun. Anyways, for my grand finale, we have R.L. Stein's The Haunting Hour, Don't Think About It. If you grew up with this movie, then you'll get it, but like if you didn't, then it's not that big of a deal. But this is just like a movie that I watched on TV when I was a kid that I loved a lot, and I completely forgot about until it like popped up in my brain. So then we have my Coraline spread. I made a video about this. I like this spread, but there are things that I could have done better, but it is what it is. Then we have my Hocus Pocus spread. I technically made a video of me making this spread, but then I was like, oh, I'm not gonna pull an all-nighter just to get this video up on Halloween. But now looking back, I kind of wish that I did pull the all-nighter just to post this video, because 1, I like how the spread turned out, and 2, it just would have made sense to post it on Halloween instead of like posting it in like February or March, you know what I mean? But it's okay. The video's still gonna get posted. Then we have my Blade spread, and this is definitely one of my favorite spreads. I thought I was like super big brained for like thinking of like blood dripping down the page, because you know the movie's about vampires, so, and there's like a lot of blood and everything, so I was like, ooh, I'm gonna have like blood coming down the page and it's gonna say like Blade outline. And yeah, me thinking I was a freaking genius, but I don't know, it still looks freaking dope. Then we have The Haunting Hour, because of course I was gonna make a spread for this movie, and I just talked about like what it was like rewatching this for the first time as like an adult, and how like nostalgic it was, and how much I forgot this movie was like so much fun, and how this character was like super freaking annoying, but it was a lot of fun. Then we have Scream. I made a TikTok of this spread. I also made a TikTok of this spread, but I love this spread a lot because this was like my first time working with like black paper, and I understand why people love working with black paper. It's like a lot of fun writing everything in like white gel pen and just like everything being inverted, you know what I mean? I love how this spread turned out. And then if you've never seen Scream, like look away for 2 seconds, but underneath like this picture I have this, and then this movie quote. And yeah, if you turned away, you can turn back now. For November, I was going to watch all the Studio Ghibli movies, but November was like a very weird and stressful month for me for many reasons that I'm not going to get into, but I made the spread, and the only one I ended up watching was Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. I mean, I ended up watching like movies in November, they just weren't the Studio Ghibli movies, so. Next we have my Jennifer's Body spread. I made a TikTok of this spread as well, and that TikTok almost has like 10,000 views, which I think is so freaking funny. I don't understand why, but it just does. And yeah, this is that spread. I really like how this turned out as well. Then we have my October movies. These are the movies that I watched in October that weren't related to my spooky season watch list. So we have American Murder, The Family Next Door, would never watch that again, Unpregnant, and Blackpink Light Up the Sky. And then like I said, Unpregnant was my favorite movie of the month. Then we have my spread for Unpregnant. I do hate these little awkward blue spots, and I was going to put like quotes there, but I just got lazy. That never ended up happening, but it is what it is. It still turned out nice though. Then we have my favorite director spread, and I really like this spread. There is a story behind the spread, but I'm not gonna get into it, but I'm glad that I made it, and I want to do more spreads like this where like they're movie related, but they're not about like a specific movie, you know what I mean? Love this. Then we have my American Beauty spread. This is the spread that like kind of started me making like these quotes bigger. I just wrote these with like my mild liners and went with like a red, white, and blue theme, because if you've ever seen American Beauty, there's a lot of red, white, and blue going on. This flips up. This technically isn't a spoiler, but it has this quote that says, "Remember those posters that said, 'Today is the first day of the rest of your life'? Well, that's true of every day except one, the day you die." It just, you know, sometimes I feel like such a genius when I make these spreads, even though it's literally not that deep. But yeah, I really like how the spread turned out. Next we have my spread for We Are Who We Are. This is an HBO show. I like this spread, but at the same time, I kind of wish I just rewatched We Are Who We Are, so I can make a spread that fits the vibe of the show better than whatever the hell this is, you know? That's that. Then we have my Spirited Away spread, because of course I was going to make a spread for Spirited Away. And yeah, I really like how this turned out with like the quote being written in pink and then like it outlined in green, which was like more inspired by like this photo, as well as like Chihiro's outfit. And I don't know, there's just like a lot of pink and green in this movie, which I didn't realize beforehand. Just turned out really nicely. Then we have my first ever double spread. So for The Neverending Story, I watched it in November. This movie was like one of my all-time favorite movies as a child, and I hadn't watched it like as an adult, and I was like, you know what, it's on HBO, I'm gonna watch it, and I had the best time. It was so much fun. And so while I was watching it, like I literally got 10 minutes into the movie and was like, you know what, I need to make a spread about this movie. So I did, and I took all these screenshots myself. I put down like these brown papers because like the movie has kind of like a warm tone to it, and then I put down like these book pages because it's like a story within a story type of movie, because like the main character is like reading a book the entire time. And then I typed out and printed out these movie quotes, and yeah, it's very different from like anything that I've done, but I love how it turned out, and it took me 3 hours to make, but those 3 hours were definitely like worth it, you know what I mean? And then I wasn't going to make like a traditional spread for this movie, but after I made this spread, I kept thinking about The Neverending Story, so I decided to just make this and just talk about why I love this movie so much. So then we have Bohemian Rhapsody, which was one of my favorite movies in 2019. Technically only watched this movie because of Rami Malek, because I am like a huge Mr. Robot fan. You know, gotta support my boy, but yeah. Next we have The Queen's Gambit, which was a Netflix show that came out in November? I want to say either end of October or early November, but still really good. At first I wasn't going to make this spread because like a lot of people on TikTok were making spreads about The Queen's Gambit, but then I was like, that's dumb, you might as well just make a spread. So that's what I did, and I made a TikTok of me making the spread, and yeah, I don't know, I like the show. It was a lot of fun. I'm like very much a character driven type of viewer, so all of the characters were very interesting, and I don't know, I just had a lot of fun watching the show and making the spread, so yeah. Next we have Stuck in Love. I don't know why I wanted to make a Stuck in Love spread. Don't get me wrong, I did rewatch Stuck in Love to make this spread, but I don't love this movie as much as I did when I first watched this movie. So that's that, but I still like how the spread turned out. Then we have the movies that I watched in November. This is the kind of the last monthly spread. Watched Rebecca, Knock Knock, Nausicaa, The Valley of the Wind. Don't ever watch Knock Knock, please. That movie was so fucking bad. I absolutely hated it. Then we have like Cafe Society, Jumanji, Yes God Yes, The Spy Who Dumped Me. And then I have like this little paragraph that's dedicated to my Studio Ghibli month because like I said, in November I was going to watch all the Studio Ghibli movies, but that ended up not happening. I just wrote in here to not do things for the sake of social media because I had posted on my Instagram and I was like, oh yeah, for November I'm gonna watch all the Studio Ghibli movies, blah blah blah, right? And then I ended up not doing that, so I just need to be more mindful to not like put out empty promises basically, as well as like not force myself to do anything that I don't want to do. So then we have Yes God Yes as my favorite movie. Then we have my 25 Days of Christmas spread. I was going to watch all of these for Christmas, but that ended up not happening, just because if you follow me on Instagram then you know what happened, but if you don't, I'm not gonna talk about it, but just know it's like family related, and so my energy was directed elsewhere. Kind of mad though, because like, not mad about like what happened with my family and everything, but like I had made this spread like the beginning of December, and then for December I was like, oh, for school I'm gonna buckle down and like focus on my finals and not worry about watching these, and I'll watch all of this later. But then the thing with my family happened and finals ended up being like complete shit anyways, and it was just like I might as well have just watched these throughout the month in the first place, you know? So yeah, I only watched Powerpuff Girls, Twas the Night Before Christmas, Meet Me in St. Louis, The Grinch, Jingle Jangle, and The Polar Express, and that's about it. This one is also blank, but I left that blank on purpose because I wanted to do something similar with my spooky season spread, like how I had like my grand finale. I just didn't know what I wanted my grand finale to be, but like I said, December ended up being like a really crappy month. So then we have my spread for The Polar Express. I really like how the spread turned out, except for like these snowflakes, but it's fine. Still turned out really nice. Then we have Meet Me in St. Louis, which borders on whether or not it's a Christmas movie. I wouldn't consider Meet Me in St. Louis a Christmas movie, and I watched it twice in December, once by myself and then once with like a family member. But I mean, just because Judy Garland sings Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas at the end of this movie doesn't make it a Christmas movie. That's all I'm gonna say. So then we have The Nightmare Before Christmas. I absolutely hate this spread, and I'm not gonna talk about it. Moving on. Then we have my spread for Yes God Yes, because like I said, this was the favorite movie for November. Really like how the spread turned out, and yeah. Then we have a spread for Twilight, which I don't think I mentioned in this video, but the reason why I created this journal in the first place is because of the Twilight Saga. In December of 2018, I rewatched the entire Twilight Saga because all 5 movies, I think, were on Hulu at the time, and they were like just about to be taken off of Hulu, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buckle down and rewatch the entire Twilight Saga. And when I finished breaking down part 2, I was like, damn, I wish I had a space to like talk about how much I enjoyed these movies, even though they are kind of crap. And that's how my personal idea for this spread came about. And yeah, so we have my Twilight spread, and I only decided to make a spread for the first movie, not the entire saga. I might do that in the future, but just for this journal, I just wanted to make one spread dedicated to Twilight, and I felt like it would be rude of me not to make a spread dedicated to Twilight, just because, like I said, the whole Twilight saga is what inspired me to make this journal in the first place. So that's that. Then we have a Blackpink Light Up the Sky. I made a spread for their documentary because 1, I really enjoyed their documentary, and 2, I would consider myself a blank now because of their documentary. I listen to Blackpink like all the freaking time, so love how this turned out. And I will say these pictures are too big, but it's okay. Then we have Frozen. There's no like actual reason as to why I made a spread for Frozen. Like, I made a spread for Frozen 2 because I enjoyed Frozen 2, but there was no actual like necessity for me to make a spread for Frozen, if you get what I'm saying. So, but it's okay. Made a spread for Frozen. Love how it turned out. This photo is not a scene that happens in the movie, and I didn't notice that until I rewatched Frozen, but it's whatever. Kind of don't like this little quote right here, just like how it looks, but again, it's whatever. So that's that. And then we have my spread of Frozen 2, which I absolutely adore because, first of all, Frozen 2 was way better than Frozen. If you watch Frozen and then Frozen 2 like back to back, Frozen 2 is just miles above Frozen, and the character development, the songs that come out of this movie, they're just so freaking good. And yeah, I definitely have to dedicate a spread to Frozen 2 just because, like I said, it's my favorite Frozen movie and it's just better than Frozen, period. So, and then next we have my favorite movies that I watched in 2020. I didn't know what I was going to do for this spread, so I ended up printing the pictures like as small as they are, and then once I laid everything out, I was like, I'm not gonna write reviews for each movie because I've already done that in like previous monthly spreads. So I just decided to write down like the star ratings for each movie, put down some washi tape, and then like write a few quotes, just because why not? These quotes are not quotes from any of these movies, they're quotes that are just talking about filmmaking in general, just because. I like how the spread turned out. And then we have my goodbye volume 1, and that is it for this video and for this journal. And yeah, like I said, this journal was like definitely my saving grace of 2020, just because that year was like a really shitty year. But I feel like if 2020 hadn't happened the way it happened, this journal wouldn't have turned out as nice as it has. So I think that's like the only like good thing that came out of last year. And yeah, that's about it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. Let me know what your favorite spread was. I am still posting these spreads on my Instagram, so if you want to follow my Instagram, it's at jlovesmovies. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one. Stay gold.